Welcome to RF Safety Live. Sources of non-ionizing radio frequency energy are populating our landscape and environments at a rapidly growing pace. From rooftops to tower sites to hidden locations, the prevalence of sources are numerous. The energy levels are sometimes below the mandatory guidelines. On the other hand, some sites are far beyond the allowed levels and must be dealt with accordingly. Whichever the case, the regulations that are in place are easy to understand and compliance is relatively straightforward. One must take a multifocal approach to the regulations to be sure that compliance is achieved from the view of the FCC, OSHA, legal, and sensible visions. Over the course of the next few hours, we will study the issue of non-ionizing RF radiation safety. Whatever else one might derive from this video, the single most important message that will be our recurring theme is safety first. The information contained within this video is somewhat condensed for a fast study. As the information is in a medium that can be reviewed over and over, the pace will be kept rapid. Nevertheless, a thorough understanding of the subject matter must be obtained. We have taken every effort to assure that the information is provided in a reasonable and responsible flow. As with all canned training formats, the viewer should take full advantage of the features that are available to replay any portions that are not fully understood. If a point is reached where the screen is moving but nothing is sticking to the brain cells, please pause the program and take a short break. My name is Steve Lemons, and I've been working within the communications industry since the 70s. In the mid-90s, I began teaching the various aspects of RF safety as an independent representative of RF safety products. This topic is still one of some controversy, some apprehension, and some irritation, but the topic is mandatory for anyone that works in RF environments, installs RF sources, or owns the property where RF equipment is operating. Knowing how to identify the hazards and knowing how to control their exposure will be our focus. We will discover the answers to many questions such as, what is MPE? What makes a controlled environment? How is power density measured or calculated? How much exposure is allowed? What types of warning signs are appropriate? How do we determine if a site is in compliance? Which regulations are involved? How do we determine the percentage of responsibility? How can personal RF monitors be used effectively? And what are the health consequences to RF exposure? This video is broken down into separate chapters. They are RF Safety Basics, Regulatory Brief, Antenna Basics, MPE Math, Health Considerations, RF Signs, RF Site Compliance, PPE, and then followed by a brief summary. The first question that you might be asking is, why do this anyway? Well, for one, it is important to keep everyone safe, and two, it's the right thing to do. It is also required by law to be trained to work in RF environments. And finally, it is simply smart business. Finding talented workers is about as difficult as it gets, and keeping them safe at work sites is smart for any business. Fines, penalties, and violations are certainly a concern, but keeping employees and the unaware public safe are primary in our focus.